Today we're going to have a look at and review and test the Czech or Czechoslovakian CM4 respirator. So, if you're into your gas masks, you'll know from looking at this is a Drager M65 clone, or at least a very similar mask to it. Lots of the Warsaw Pact countries actually used M65 clones for some reason. You have a 5-point head harness, 2 triangular lenses, a voice diaphragm on the front, and then an intake and exhale valve at the bottom. There's also an inner mask inside this mask to prevent fogging. Now the interesting thing is Czechoslovakia actually used this mask at the same time as the M10, and you can see from this it has the same sort of triangular lenses, although this has got the outserts on it. The same type of straps at the top. Exact same sort of material, although that's a 6-point one on this mask, 5-point on that. Same type of voice diaphragm. It looks different on this, but on the standard M10, not the M10M, that is the same looking voice diaphragm. Obviously, this was a cheek filter mask, and this one's an actually 40mm Ghost filter mask. And the weird thing is, why use a cheek filter mask in conjunction with a 40mm mask? It seems a bit odd, especially because obviously the better design choices of this mask are quite obvious. However, it's the same nice quality rubber as the M10. I really like these Czechoslovakian masks, they're well made. So what we're going to do is test the CM4 on the right. And what I'm going to do is use my standard Polish ABEC filter I use in all of these videos because it's a safe filter to use and it seems to work quite well. So that obviously just screws onto the bottom of the mask. But as saying, it's odd that Czechoslovakia would be using these two masks in conjunction with each other, producing both of them at the same time, have this as a civil defence mask and sort of an industrial mask, while they use this as a military mask, despite the fact that this is a lot more practical because you can unscrew the filters easily from it and put new filters on, not having the gigantic cheek filters inside the mask. The weight of this is actually much lower as well, even if you take into the filter weight, which is, you know, just odd. Supposedly they're still producing this mask, but the M10 has been succeeded by something now, but supposedly Czechoslovakia still has a lot of these in service and just has some fairly new filters that are sealed to use them, but obviously these are obsolete masks, whereas this is apparently still popular. There's apparently a variant of this that has a drinking tube on, and there's one that's an industrial variant that has some very minor changes made to it, but this is the common normal CM4 I have here. So I'll pop the filter onto it, we'll do the test, we'll time it a few minutes and I'll probably go over, and then we'll have a look and see what I think of this mask overall. Right, so we're ready to test the mask. It has one of these neck strap things on it like the M65 that's quite handy, so you can just hang it from your neck when you're not using it. As I said, it's a 5-point head harness. Now, if this is like most of the M65s, and I have a feeling it is, it has a weak point around the chin. And I don't necessarily know if it's a weak point, but the issue being, because I have quite low body fat, there's not much fat on my chin, which means it doesn't make a good chin seal, because you have an angular chin with a sort of bit of rubber like that. I imagine if you're a bit chubbier, these masks fit you a lot better, but I know a lot of people do complain that they break the seal on these masks when they look up and down. So, anyway, I'll pop it on. As I said, 5-point head harness, I've fully undone it. Right, so the mask's on now, I'll just do the straps up. Don't need to do that top one up much. Right, so hopefully that's all on tight. I'll do a pressure check in a second. Right, I think that's the tightest it's going to go, which is the best seal possible, but this is where I'm sort of concerned on my chin, that my chin's not actually got enough fat on it to keep the, you know, seal well enough, but let's try it. Yeah, I think air's getting in somehow. Although I'm not actually sure if that's air getting in. The sides. Right, I'm going to assume that that's actually air that's trapped inside the mask that I'm slowly inhaling. So we'll test it. I can't actually see if my pressure check's going to work, but whatever, let's test it and see. So, as said, Czechoslovakian CM4, it's an M65 clone. Now we'll see if I can smell anything. So, I'll give that about 2 minutes. So far I can't smell anything, so maybe that was just air inside the mask getting in. But as I was saying, I do have problems with a lot of M65 type masks. Funnily enough, not the Israeli M15, but a lot of the others simply because it seems that I've not got enough fat around my face for the masks to sort of seal onto. But so far I can't smell anything, which is a good sign. So as I said, it's a GOST mask, so it takes GOST filters. If you want modern safe GOST filters and not obviously using the old Soviet or Warsaw Pact ones, get a modern Russian one or modern Polish one. Apparently modern Hungarian ones might work as well, but I haven't tried them so I can't say. Because I don't know if Hungary uses GOST or sort of Stanag filters now. But yeah, so far that seems to be holding. But as saying, when I talk I feel like there's a bit of a, issue that my face might break the seal. I'm going to try looking around while breathing and see if I can smell anything. And again, I think when I look in certain directions I can get a very faint bit of smell as the seal breaks. So as I said, that's not a good thing, but I'm not smelling it strongly enough that I have a reaction to the smell. But if it was a very volatile nerve agent, that would kill you. However, for the most part, this mask does seem good. As saying, it seems to make a lot more sense to use this than the M10s with the cheek filters, because this is actually a more practical design. But I was saying, if the air gets in when I look around, this isn't an exclusive problem to this mask. It seems to be a Drager M65 problem in general. Because, as I was saying, I have that issue with the M65. I think I had that issue with the Bulgarian, I think it's PG1 it was called. And lots of other people have informed me in the comments they have that problem, but nobody seems to report on the Israeli M15, so it might just be the M15 has a better face seal system. They're saying if I put on a bit of weight and get chubbier in the face, I don't think I'd have an issue with it sealing. I think it's just sort of having a squarish jawline with a round bottom section of the mask. Again, I keep getting very faint whiffs of the air freshener, but not enough to make me gag. So obviously the filter's working, but I think now and again a little break happens in the mask. I inhale the actual air freshener. So in that sense the mask's failed, but I don't think it's the mask's fault. I think it's not the right shape for my face. That's what I was reading that was interesting about, I think it's the Czech M95 that the Finnish army uses. Those masks were supposedly made to have an odd facial structure that would fit the Finns well. So that's kind of something to consider with gas masks a lot of people don't think of, that if you sort of have actual facial structures people have in the country quite frequently, a good mask for that nation is designed to fit the facial structure, sort of bone structures of the natives for that country. So it means that if you have sort of an Anglo-Saxon face, you won't necessarily fit masks designed for Slavic faces, and all stuff like that. I imagine some of the Chinese respirators have again a different facial structure than a lot of the Western ones. But as said, yeah, if I do that I can smell it. So somewhere around the side of the mask it's getting compromised, and I can't quite figure out how, but it's obviously happening. I don't think I can get the straps done up any tighter. That's a bit tighter, but not very comfortable. Let me try again. Oh, I think I've got an actual seal now. Oh, good, the mask's working. So, it turns out I just have to do this uncomfortably tight, so I wouldn't recommend the mask in that way, but I can't at least smell the air freshener now. So, here we have it. The Czech CM4 will make a face seal if you do it so uncomfortably tight it constricts your face. I'm going to have to try this with an M65 at some point now. But, yeah. So the Czech CM4 does make a good face seal. It's a 40mm Gas Mask, so it uses a proper filter. And it works well. You just have to do it uncomfortably tight. I'd never have to do the Israeli masks up this tight to work. But I'm tempted to have the Drager M65 to constrict my head to the point that it gives me a headache, but I think it will actually work. But no problems with the mask, and as said, if I had a fatter face, I think the mask would fit me fine anyway. But there you go. The Czech CM4 is definitely working. I think it made a lot more sense if they made this mask in bigger numbers than the M10. But apparently the M10 has been replaced by another mask now anyway, which isn't this mask. It seems odd they make a 40mm mask for civil defence, an industry that's a lot more practical than their military mask, and make both of them parallel to each other, but there you go. But the Czech CM4, when done up tight enough, passes the test, it's all good. So yeah, Czech CM4 is a good mask when it's constricting your face to the point that it feels like it's going to crush your skull.